comes.
What?
I wish I could have lived like you did.
Shut up. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you hear me, detective? I'm trying to tell you how much I admire you. And your pretty wife.
What?
Tracy.
What'd you fucking say?
It's disturbing how easily a member of the press can purchase information from the men in your precinct.
What the fuck? Put your gun down!
I visited your home this morning. After you'd left. I tried to play husband. I tried to taste the life of a simple man.
Blow it away!
It didn't work out. So, I took a souvenir. Her pretty head.
Mills! What's this talking about? Give me your gun. What's going on over there? Put the gun down. I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
No, what's in the box? Not until you give me the What's gun. In the fucking box? Give me the gun.
Welcome back. Yes, What's Your Story is going to kick off with a special edition episode as we will be celebrating, yes, as you can tell, the 30-year anniversary of a film that, well, Lexi never saw. First time watch to a 30-year film that to this day, I'm going to say it right now before we even talk about it because I'm sure you'll agree with this because I have a question to ask you once I say this, but this film still stands the test of time. Would you agree with that one?
After 30 years and what I saw, definitely stands the test of time for me. I guess maybe it's a first watcher type vibe, but it's really good, and I'll go into detail why I really liked it. Well, I'm glad you introduced me to this one because I never seen it, and it was really good.
This one got like an 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb. It got an 84% Rotten Tomato score, which is, I mean, that's a good film. And the fact that this film in 1995 made $328 million in 1995. Imagine now, I think would have made $1 billion easily.
Right. And I was only 5 years old when this came out, so that's probably why I didn't see it yet. But yeah, I'm ready to dive into this one because there's so much to say.
I mean, this film is David Fincher was the director of this film. If you ever watched the movie Fight Club, him and Brad Pitt joined up again to do that film. And Andrew Kevin Walker was the actual writer of this film. I'll get back to a couple of things I read about him as far as this film goes. But this cast was a big cast. You have Morgan Freeman as William Somerset. You had Brad Pitt as David Mills, Detective David Mills. You had the beautiful Gwyneth Paltrow as Tracy Mills. You had Kevin Spacey as John Doe. Now, real quick about this. When they did the credits of this film, Kevin Spacey's name did not come up till the end of the film because they did not want the audience to know Kevin Spacey was John Doe. So they kept the whole lore of who exactly is John Doe in this film. And at the end of the film, he got 2 credits, one at the beginning and one in order of appearance. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I didn't catch that. Yeah.
And then
I was going to say, is it order of appearance? Is that why?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. The fact that they did that's pretty smart as well because we'll get into Kevin Spacey's character in this film, but this one's an interesting film because you have a soon-to-be retiring detective who's 6 days away from fully retiring, who ends up being partnered with a hot-headed, crazy-ass detective, let's say, David Mills, Brad Pitt. And it just so happens that 6 days away from retiring, he gets dragged into, a case where I would say this is a very interesting case and a very interesting as far as crime thriller goes. But the fact that he is pulled into this and, he's not going to be retiring anytime soon. And unfortunately, shit goes crazy from here. But Lexi, before we dive into this film, it was definitely a first watch for you.
Mhm.
Without giving away too much, did this film surprise you for a first watch?
It did in different ways. I have to be honest, I absolutely loved it for many reasons, for what it is, 100%.
Mhm.
But I am going through a phase right now of watching Dexter, so I had a lot of Dexter vibes in this. And I was mentally prepared to see, which was a lot more gruesome, I feel, than Dexter is. So it prepared me for all of that. But, blood, guts, and gore don't bother me unless it's broken bones. We all know that if you've been watching for a while. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. I again for what it was. 30 years later, I what I liked about it was the most, and the thing I kept saying to myself while watching it was like, God, in 1995, whoever did the makeup effect of all these deaths was just fucking gruesome and awesome. Especially the scene where they go into, I don't think it was
Sloth.
right before Sloth. Yes, the corpse. Oh my god, that was so realistic. I was like, that person's dead, and it shocked me when he is still alive, and we don't get to find out if he ends up dying. But the doctor kind of slightly said he ain't gonna make it. But that was fucking awesome. The makeup effect on that, the sores on his body, like, and every kill. The fat guy in the very beginning was disgusting. The maggots everywhere because
Yeah.
of all the rotted food. When I saw the word seven, I'm like, seven what? And then they started with Morgan Freeman having 7 days until retirement. So I'm like, okay, is this like a relationship thing? Because if you go to, I believe not Google, because Google labels this as a horror crime,
Right.
but HBO Max labeled this as a crime drama. So, and my mom, I think she was one of the ones that commented when I had posted about this, that this isn't scary. This isn't horror. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's definitely a horror, true crime.
Yeah.
Like it's so gruesome in the way the deaths are, and it doesn't have to be like boo, scary situation. Um, it's definitely psychological when Kevin Spacey comes into the whole situation.
Right.
But I was surprised, and I absolutely loved when they revealed, oh, it's not 7 days until his retirement. It's seven deadly sins. I'm like, oh, this is so me. I love that.
Well, a couple ironic things. The scene with the sloth. Now, when the officers actually approached it and it breathes, the actors were not told that that's actually a real person. They were told it was a prop. The person that was basically the sloth,
So it was natural
it,
reaction.
it was natural action, and it took 14 hours of that makeup to get that person to look
Jeez.
like that. And the fact that they told the actors, "Nah, that's a prop. You'll be okay."
That was
So
my favorite scene.
yeah,
Was
that was
that?
that was very
Ugh.
genuine. And basically, Andrew Kevin Walker, what he ended up doing is he was bored one day, so he decided, I'm going to take a walk. So as he was taking a walk, he went down Manhattan. He goes, "Oh look, just by walking down Manhattan, I could see the seven deadly sins happening right in front of my eyes." Then he started thinking in his mind, "Oh, okay, I could picture a serial killer killing all these people for committing the seven deadly sins." So he actually went and started writing the script, sent it to a friend of his, a writer named David Keough, who actually read it and contacted him back, told him basically, "Dude, you need professional help." But that just shows the creativity that's in this film.
Yeah.
And to top off the creativity, this is a big cast. There's a very big cast in this film. They all do their roles well. But what you know, in What's Your Story, we talk a lot about the storylines, we talk about the characters, we talk about the plot. So it's more like driven into the story and everything that makes the storyline into these films. So of course, characters play a big role in these films, especially the ones we reviewed. So I have to ask, with all this big cast, the central focus of these two characters, William Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman, and David Mills, played by Brad Pitt. I mean, what did you think about their relationship as it was developing right from the beginning of the film?
I was nervous because I'm not a Brad Pitt fan at all. I am not. I don't think he's terrible or anything. I don't have anything against him. I just don't. I think he's just dry for me. But for this film, he did absolutely fantastic. And one of his other better films is the only film I liked him in was World War Z. he did great in that. But when I saw this, I was like, damn, I could put this on the list of films that I like from Brad Pitt. I don't like him in Mr. and Mrs. Smith and all that shit. But yeah, I love the relationship between the two. It was very, competition wise in the beginning, man against man, territorial. They think they, know more than the other. Morgan Freeman's character, Somerset, he is a seasoned detective. Obviously, he's Brad Pitt is a lot, or Detective Mills is a lot younger. So I did like that, like almost. It wasn't like a bromance or anything. It was just like that competition feel between the two. But as the case started to unfold, they realized, man, we have to work together. And I like the fact that I don't want to retire now. I mean, he was still going to retire, but I don't want to retire until this case is solved, because this is insane. He wanted to be a part of it. And even one of the other main detectives is like, this is still in you. This is what you breathe and live. You're not done. And it showed it very well in Somerset's character that he wasn't done. But then working together, I do like the small moments with the wife as well. She had an important role, tying them together. I like that she just randomly, I'm pretty sure, because they didn't even meet yet, and Somerset's getting a phone call like, why is your wife inviting me? Probably because husband's talking shit. And I want to meet this guy because it's, the only people they know in town for right now. But anyway, digressing back to the two duo. I love how they work together, how they were putting pieces together. He may be a young, detective, Brad Pitt's character, and he may be seasoned, but they worked really well. They both had different aspects of the crime, the way to look at things. You can definitely tell Freeman is a seasoned vet, because he was finding like the prints behind the picture frame. He was finding stuff that, and he was kind of a hothead, so he was blinded a lot, I felt, in his character. Like, oh, I didn't see that, but it's because he's got the wrath or rage, anger, which was his sin, which I can't even wait to get to that part. It makes sense when it ties it all together. But yeah, it's insane. This whole case is awesome. Just as a true crime fan, because if you've watched us for a long time, I'm a big paranormal exorcism fan, but I have a small, love for it. Actually, it's a big love for true crime. It's my least on my list, but it's definitely on my list of things that I love. Yeah, I like them two working together.
Yeah, it was interesting because you have Somerset, who is, like you say, he's a seasoned veteran. He's methodical in his approach. He takes his time into looking at everything, knowing that the first glance is you're not going to catch everything. You're always going to miss something.
Right.
Where you have Mills, he wants to get the case over and done with as quick as possible. So he has no patience for the little stuff that Somerset likes to do. Like, there's that scene where they finally figure out where John Doe lives. And here you have Somerset sitting in this library reading these books, and this guy, hey, we need to get more people in here to read these notebooks, because he's telling us what he's doing. And then you have basically Mills, no, we need to hurry up. We don't have the manpower. So you had this clash of styles, and I like the fact that
I'm sorry to interrupt. That scene with the notebooks, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because he could have instantly realized the game if he would have sat and read, like Morgan Freeman said, and the ending would have been prevented. But in a way, as a horror person, true crime, I'm glad that they didn't figure that out. I don't mean anything against we know who, but we'll get there.
Well, the interesting part is the fact that books and reading played a big part of the investigation. Like, I apologize, I'm going to glance because it's a lot from this to read, but the fact that these are the books that were referenced in the film. You had the Divine Comedy by Dante. You had the Canterbury Tales by Chaucer. You had Paradise Lost by Milton. You had The Merchants of Venice by Shakespeare. You had other books mentioned were Helter Skelter, In Cold Blood, Murderers and Mayhem, and Of Human Bondage. So the fact that all these books, which I'll be honest, I've heard a couple of them after watching this film, the horror person in me wants to read these books now just to see how brilliantly they tie these books into the film. and how each of them gave a glimpse of John Doe's character and what he was looking to do. But you have mentioned, Tracy and how she played the part of trying to like fuse both of them together, like fix whatever issues they had with one another by basically having him come over for dinner. And do you know who Robin Wright is?
No.
Okay, Robin Wright played Jenny in Forrest Gump.
Oh, okay.
She
I'm a face person.
She actually auditioned for the role of Tracy and lost to Gwyneth Paltrow, which ironically, years later, her and David Fincher got back together along with Kevin Spacey, and they did House of Cards, which is, if you love political drama, that is an excellent freaking series, amazing series. But yeah, I like the fact that you had this interaction between them, because remember at first Summer said they want anything to do with Mills. He's not ready for this case. I don't want to work with him. Transfer him, get rid of him. And Mills is basically like, you know what, F you, just get rid of him. So they didn't like each other from the get-go.
Right.
But you mentioned John Doe. So this is where the film goes a totally different direction. Now, we mentioned before what was basically how his character was created, with the writer. But here we have Kevin Spacey's character, who, listen, Kevin Spacey went through some shit in his personal life, but the guy is a phenomenal. He plays the villain role so well, and
he did.
What did you think of the storyline of John Doe, and when we found out the motives of what he was doing?
When Kevin Spacey, John Doe came into scene, I have to be honest, I thought of he looked like the character from God, what is his name? Split. That's what it reminded me of. The Split personality situation. Yeah, McAvoy. That's what it reminded me of. But this movie came out before that, so I had to put, because I hate films that remind me of other films. But I had to put in the back of my mind, this came out first. I loved the psychological scareness to him. He was obviously off his rocker, but sickeningly, he made a lot of sense when it came to explaining, this world, and this, the 7 deadly sins, like what you were saying before with the writers or the directors, or whatever, seeing it in the streets of Manhattan. Like, he saw it. That's the way this character saw it. So the reveal of John Doe, I did find it interesting that he turned himself in because of the setup at the end. And I was like, and I put it 2 and 2 together when the guy in the van came with the box, and I'm like, oh no. I instantly already knew, watching it all step by step coming together, and I just put 2. I was like, no. And I felt I would have done the same thing. I'm sorry. I would have done the same decision that Mills, even though Somerset, I want to say Somersault, but Somerset, he was like, put the gun down. At first, like, when he was saying something about the gun, I thought maybe the gun was manipulated, and if he would have shot the John Doe, it would fire back and hit him. There's guns like that, so I didn't know what was going to happen, but the way he reacted was so natural, and I would have done the same thing. You cut my husband's head off, yeah, I'm taking your head too. So he did the right thing in my eyes, but he fell for that 7th sin, which and they both fulfilled, because I was like, 2 other bodies. I mean, because there was still envy and there was still wrath. So I knew what the wrath was coming to when the box came into play. Back to John Doe, though. He's just creepy. I love the whole scene where they find his apartment. They're chasing him throughout the entire building. Because you could tell just looking at the apartment just how fucked up he is. How insanity. Who writes that much? Yeah. There was like 200 and something fucking notebooks. Who the fuck writes that much? He has no job, no time in his hands, and a lot of bullshit going on in that apartment. But I would have loved to see like more detective work, but that's where Mills comes in. He's the hothead of, let's just get this shit done. Let's just catch this guy. So when they got the plot twist of him just turning himself in, I was like, what is going on? Where is this? What? And then when it all came together at the end, I was like, damn, that's heartbreaking.
It was interesting because, like, as we go through the sins, we see how each of them becomes more horrific.
Yeah.
You had gluttony. Basically, the guy ate himself to death, so his insides basically expanded and blew up. Why he was basically chained. You know, you had what was it? Lust, which was probably one of the most disturbing ones out
Oh
of
my god.
all
Oh,
of
I
them.
forgot about that. Yeah, that was the most disturbing. That was hard.
And the excuse was, well, you have a whore who's spreading disease. But
Hmm.
then one thing about what I read too is the scene where the guy's in the interrogation room and he's just, in the blanket and he's telling his side. The actor actually purposely made himself hyperventilate. That way, when the scene started, he was already in that mode where he's having a hard time explaining what happened. And then when they actually show the imagery of the contraption that was made, you're like, oh,
Oh yeah,
poor woman. And then there was the other one
that
where,
was the worst one.
yeah, that one was the worst one. And even the other one where the woman wanted to basically look beautiful. I forgot which one that was.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
But
Pride.
Pride, yes, where, she was so beautiful on the inside that she wanted her outside to look the same. And she changed her bias. So you had the phone glued to one hand and the pills glued to the other hand. And her just,
Yeah.
either you call
Live or
for help
die.
and you suffer, or you kill yourself off. And he ended up cutting her off her nose to spite her. So
Hmm.
there was a lot of stuff. I mean, I love the Kevin Spacey characters of John Doe, especially the scene when he turns himself in, because they just walked out of the case. I mean, the basically the
Yeah.
where they
And
found
they
the
don't even
body,
see
you're
it
going back.
in.
Yeah, it was like a perfect time, and then he was detective, and he goes detective. I mean, and then when they're in the car ride to the ending, you know, Mills is like, oh, you kill innocent people. He go, what do you mean innocent people? You had a person who was obese who couldn't even get up,
And that's
a
why I said
person
it
that,
makes sense.
yeah, a person you would have made fun of and all your friends.
Hmm.
So the fact that this is what he viewed his world as far as people who should be taken on. I mean, he even said, oh, I know you're thankful that I took out the lawyer. So he was arrogant, but he was so. What was it? It took as far as Sloth. I think for a year he was poisoning him and killing him,
Yes. That's
and then he
crazy.
was,
And he
yeah,
survived that. That's crazy.
yeah. And what the doctor said, I've never seen anybody suffer as much as this person did. And
I
then if
love the
you go
part
to the
with
next
all
one,
the air fresheners in
oh
the
god,
seal. That was
it was
crazy.
a lot of stuff in this movie was very disgusting as far as
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
what I'm
stuff that
saying.
was.
That's it for 1995. That is just the most like epic makeup effect and like setup touches I've ever seen, especially that scene. But every scene, the gruesome gluttony fat guy who's
Yeah,
dying in a bowl of spaghetti sauce, like, and then the scene where the guy's the lawyer guy on his knee, like all of it is just so gruesome and terrible. The knife one, I can't even get over that. It's just all gruesome. What we didn't see was the wife's head. I wish we would have gotten just a slight shot of it. So, but you could just see it on Morgan's face.
well,
So that's how I knew.
well, the funny thing is, all the kills were done off screen. Every single one of them
Yeah.
were done off screen. What John Doe's character did. So that is masterful as far as filmmaking goes, because you don't get to see what happened, but when they discover it, the shock value of it, like, holy shit, this is what this guy did to him. Because remember, you had Gluttony, who was his feet were binded together by, it looks like, barbed wire. So were his hands. I mean, it's just the fact that this guy was so methodical in his approach, and then he had a bigger end game. So we'll talk about the end game now, because you had mentioned it slightly. Now I know once the box came, but did you ever expect this to be the conclusion of this film?
Um, I mean, it was predictable when it all started coming together. I didn't know it while they were in the car on the way there, but when it started going into out in the middle of nowhere, oh my God, this is envy, this is wrath. But my mind was racing during this whole scene. I was like, wait a minute, they're not. I'm like, what could happen? Because they're not envious of each other, Mills and Somerset. So who the hell's envy of who? And then when he started explaining his envy, I wish I would have had it. I didn't want to be this way. So I was like, okay, yeah, nobody is born to be a killer, or unless you're Dexter, but yeah, nobody wants to be that way or live that life, because there's so much. If you've seen Dexter, there's so much you have to think of, go through your tactic, not getting caught, and so I get why he felt envy of the officer's life, but why him is my only question. Why single him out? Because he's new to Manhattan or whatever it looked like New York they were in. I don't know. That was the one question I had, unless it was answered and I missed it. But then when the guy, and I was like, is it a bomb? Like, what is going on? My mind was racing through the whole scene. And then when I saw the package, and then I thought Raft, well, who's the only angry character throughout this whole movie? It's Mills. I'm like, oh fuck, his wife's head is in the box. It's the only thing I knew that made sense. And then the reaction on Somerset's face, I was like, yep. And before he even said it and they revealed it, I already knew. It was just the look on his face. He cared about the wife as a friend. Right. And I did feel bad when they revealed like she was pregnant. Mills never knew. That's just heartbreaking. So his whole reaction was just a natural reaction. I would have done the same fucking thing.
Well, that's what pushed him over the edge even more. He goes, oh, when she begged for her life and now her unborn child. And you didn't know. I'm like, oh, this dude is just a frick. The way he pushed the button. Maybe he pushed the button is correct, because this is the way, it was the end game for him, because at the end of the day, they're both always going to be remembered. He's going to be remembered for what he did, and Mill's going to be remembered for killing the serial killer and basically making him into, I mean, this happens a lot in movies with serial killers where serial killer gets killed. We see it in a lot of horror movies, and all of a sudden they become some sort of like martyr for people who want to do the same things. Right. But here's did you know that they actually had in the works a sequel to this film where it was going to be Brad Pitt in the mental institution? Mm-hmm. But the director shot it down and said, no. He goes, I'd rather put cigarettes in my eyes than do.
And then Split was born. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
and then another thing too about this film is the what's in the box is one of the most famous questions in as far as horror movies goes. And it's others that I've seen plenty of memes where they, what's in the box? It was in Scary Movie. What's in the box? So what's in the box has been something that people have said it in horror movies and memes. But the fact that scene was originally going to be a happy ending. They were going to have Mills save Tracy. This is what Hollywood always wants, a happy ending. Then they were going to have John Doe kill Mills, only to be killed by Somerset. So it was a mistake when they brought him the script that said what's in the box. So once he read that, he was like, I want to do it. And Brad Pitt was like, yep, we have to do it. This is the way the film has to end. Yeah. So this just shows
that way.
Oh, if they do it, I mean, I don't want a happy ending. There's no need for happy endings. I mean, the whole film was grim. The whole film was dark. And it was just, that's happy ending. Come on. You can't do a happy ending in this film.
Yeah, I don't think I ate all day because I watched it today. And so I'm like, oh, especially the gluttony guy. I was like, well, now I'm not so hungry. It's a sin to eat, I guess.
All right, so one thing before we go into our scores that I got to mention too. So when the script was done, one of the original actors that was sought after to play David Mills was Denzel Washington, who, when he read the script, he was like, nah, it's too dark and disturbing for me. And then he did an interview in 2017, which stated that he regret that he never took the role. Mm-hmm. Which would have been interesting to see, Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington once again in the film together at their
No, I think
primes.
Brad Pitt was a good
Oh,
touch.
Brad Pitt was he was good in it. I mean, he does a very good job in playing the hothead
Yeah,
because he
for
plays
sure.
he plays a hothead persona in Fight Club.
Right.
So,
Oh,
but
well, yeah.
you never watched Fight Club?
I've seen parts of it. I know he's in
Oh,
that.
you got to watch
I'm
that.
just like I said. He's dry for me, but this
Oh,
and World War Z is perfect for him. Yeah,
but
almost like a
yes,
Kristen Stewart situation. I don't know why.
yeah, I don't like Kristen Stewart.
No, she's
I
dry.
mean, don't get me wrong, she's very good. If you watch the movie Underwater, she's very good in
Mhm.
that film because you
Okay.
know the vampire glittery shit just never. I'm
The
sorry if
one
you
you just
like
mentioned to
Twilight,
me.
I don't care. Twilight is just when vampires glitter. I have no. I'm sorry, no, they're
Yeah.
not vampires. Come on. All right, so when we do a rating in this film, we take everything combined. We take the storyline, the characters, the plot, the cinematography, everything that is part of creating a story of a film. So this is how we do it as far as our scores and stuff, our rating. But Lexi, since it was your first watch, I'm curious of how. Well, I already know you like the film, so the
Mhm.
question is going to be: is how much did you like the film?
For me, it is a 5, and it's because of the two main detectives, Mills and Somerset. They worked very well as Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. They worked together very well as two detectives who disliked each other but ended up working as a team because the main goal was to catch the motherfucker. So Kevin Spacey, great villain, very creepy, very scary. His points were valid, but disgustingly valid. And the wife, Tracy, I can't say her name. Gwyneth, is that?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, she's great. Wonderful wife. We didn't get to see much of her, but that's okay. I did like the moments that we did have with her. It's sad that it ended in demise with her. Um, the film, the like I said, the effects in 1995. Whoever did the makeup effects, kudos because that shit was gruesome as fuck. It felt so real.
Yeah.
The relationship between the two detectives felt so real. The town reacting to it was so real. Like it was just. And again, maybe it's because I'm going through a whole phase of Dexter. I'm 20 years behind, and I just in 2 weeks got to season 5, and I've already was, I guess, prepared to see all the gruesomeness because it's definitely way worse than Dexter. What I witnessed in 7, but I just like the story. The main story is this of this whole thing, which is what we're here for. What's your story? The story is the 7 deadly sins, and I like that it was just every crime scene was what the sin was, the way they explained the story, and the way Kevin Spacey, John Doe, the way he explained it in the back of the car makes absolute sense. It was disgusting. He's obviously crazy. Mills was right. He's fucking insane. But yeah, it disgustingly made sense, and that is how you tie up the film. Unfortunately, in demise, like you said, no happy endings. We don't need a happy ending. It goes on a list of one of the saddest endings, because I didn't wish that for his wife or for Mills. I would like to see if there was a sequel, if they ever make one. I mean, they did it with Split. I didn't know it was a trilogy until because I
Really?
like watching things. Yeah, I didn't know it was a trilogy up until a couple of years ago. I was like, what? I like watching things in order. So I felt very unorganized when I found out Split was the second sequel to the original Unbreakable. So
Breakable.
I was just like, what? But if they do make anything with this, I would. I think it's kind of too late. Or do you think
Yeah,
it's too late? I don't know.
it's too late.
It's
I wouldn't do it.
yeah. I think just don't touch it. It's perfect. It's a great film.
No, I agree. It's definitely a 5. I just like the whole relationship dynamic between Somerset and Mills. I mean, I like the old guard, dying, looking to leave, and then the young guard comes in. Young guy comes in that he's supposed to take under his wing to train him and teach him. And there's plenty of scenes in this film where Somerset goes at Mills for, oh, we can't break the door down. We need a warrant. If we break the door down, this guy
He's
could
by
use
the
it
book.
against us. Yeah, and here's Mills, who later on hires basically a homeless woman to lie to the cops and saying, "Oh yeah, this is the reason we broke in because this crazy person that he looks suspicious." So he was used to trying to do things as quick as possible. I mean, I like the fact that you know Gwyneth Paltrow's character only showed up when needed, so she brought a little bit of a different dynamic to the film. But this is one thing about having such a good cast. You don't have everybody doesn't have to have massive screen time. As long as the storyline and the way the film is going works, there's no reason to we need this person a little bit more. I think she did perfectly fine in her role. Kevin Spacey. I mean, how smart was he that he dressed up like a reporter to take a picture of Mills? He
Oh,
was
I
like,
know that I didn't even catch it was Kevin Spacey because he was so young in this film, so I didn't even realize it was
oh, he
him
had a
being
wig
filmed.
on and everything. He goes like, he goes, oh, we had him.
Yeah, yeah, the
Picture.
realization, my jaw dropped when he found the photos in his apartment. I mean, like you said with Gwen, she was a nice touch.
Yeah.
It was sudden, it was subtle, but she was a nice touch because it broke the hatred between the two cops.
Mhm.
When they had that big hefty laugh at dinner, I was like, okay, here we go. Now
Yeah.
the ball's rolling with them working together.
Yeah.
So it was needed.
No, it was. And the cinematography, lighting. If you guys know, I love lighting, and the lighting in this film was tremendous. I love all the scenes. Everything was murky. Even during the daytime, it seemed like everything was murky. There was nothing in this film that felt like, even that the drive where towards the end where they're going to the location where John Doe wants them to go. There was just some gloomy mood in it that you knew things weren't going to end up well.
My
And
favorite cinematography was the camera being behind Spacey walking into the police station. So
yeah,
that I was like, oh my god, turn around, he's right behind you.
and he's bloody. They handcuffed him, and the cops like,
Yes,
"What the fuck is this?"
that scene was awesome. I pay attention to more stuff like that because of you guys, and I'm like that camera angle. Oh my god, Rick and Jr. have to love that
Oh
scene.
God,
Right
yeah,
behind them, walking in, and it's just eerie. He's walking slow, and he's slowly just saying quietly, "Detective,
yeah,
detective."
yeah.
So
Great scene. And
awesome.
then is in the interrogation room with the tea bag. Nice and easy, just taking his time, enjoying the moment, looking at the window, knowing that they're on the other side, taunting them. So this is a great film. This is such I mean, if you haven't seen any of David Fincher's other films, if you like drama series, definitely check out House of Cards on Netflix. It is an amazingly written series. I mean, the guy is just he has a knack for finding ways to just take you out of the element, make you uncomfortable. And this film is 30 years later, stands the test of time. It's just so well done. And I try to compare certain films now to this film, and this film still it's in the top as far as serial killer films. I mean, it's right up there as far as storylines and everything because it's when you watch it, it still pulls you into this day.
Yeah,
And that's what a film is, and that's why I'm glad we did this as a special
yeah.
edition for What's Your Story.
This was a good, yeah, what's your story beginning? Because again, I'm going through that Dexter phase, so I was in a true crime mood, and just to start off a 30-year anniversary true crime psychological horror, what could be better?
Wow, simply amazing. But yeah, we What's Your Story? We'll be starting soon. It's going to be an interesting selection of films. We have fantasy, we have horror, we have horror, but different levels of horror, paranormal. We have a little bit of everything. We are doing a couple visits to films from way back, and this is the first of I think three in total we have as far as we're doing like retro reviews. But yeah, definitely get ready for this season. We're excited. We're glad to be back because
Yes,
we love
glad to be
slow
back.
burns where everybody else doesn't like them as much as we do.
We have patience, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
We love stories. Give us a good story filled horror movie, and we're there. We're there. Watch it. Either we'll trash it or we'll love it, but we enjoy it if it's done right. So this is JR. That is Lexi. What's your story? Next, this season coming soon, and I cannot wait to see what you guys have to say about what we have lined up for you. Till next time, peace.